everyone. Today we are going to discuss a separate topic from corporate accounting, a small deviation from the usual procedure. Definitely I will upload the amalgamation continuation video in video number 6. Before that, I would like to discuss one of the most important topic, that is accounting principles and standards. So this video will be useful for degree or PG commerce students and for those who are preparing for the competitive examinations. So when we analyzing the past data and records, it is 100% sure that you will get some of the questions from this area. So let's start accounting principles. Principle mean rule of action or conduct. It is defined as a gate to actions. So there are certain rules of conduct on which financial accounting theory and practice are based. These are the rules of conduct which are adopted by the accountants universally while recording accounting transactions. It is classified into accounting concepts and accounting conventions. And these principles and procedures are commonly referred to as GAAP, that is generally accepted accounting principles. In some texts you will find only two classifications, that is accounting concepts and accounting conventions. But here I am going to discuss the broad classification of this GAAP, that is generally accepted accounting principle. This can be broadly classified into first one accounting assumptions, second one accounting principles, and third one modifying principles and accounting standards. In this video we will discuss only the important concepts and conventions. Okay, let us discuss the accounting assumptions. What is accounting assumptions? These conditions on which the accounting system is based are called accounting assumptions or concepts. These assumptions constitute the foundation of accounting process. An accountant have to consider these assumptions while preparing financial statements. These are the some major assumptions. First one accounting entity, second one money measurement, and third going concern, and finally accounting period. First one, separate entity concept. According to this concept, a business is treated as a separate unit or entity from its owners, creditors, managers, and stakeholders. In simple, business is considered to be a separate entity from the proprietors. That is, business and its owners are two separate entities. That is, the owner is regarded as a creditor of the business. For instance, when an owner invests money in the business, it is assumed that the owner has given the money and the business has received the money. Similarly, cash or goods withdrawn by the owner from the business for his personal use are considered as the personal expense instead of the business expense. So this concept is extremely helpful in keeping business affairs strictly free from the effect of the private affairs of the proprietors. So for example, we can say that if one person invests rupees 10,000 into business, it will be deemed that the proprietor has given that much of money to the business, and it will be shown as a liability in the books of the business. For competitive type of examination, there is more chance for MCQ. I have given an example. See, the proprietor is treated as a creditor to the extent of his capital according to which concept? Business entity concept, right? Second one is going concern concept. It is based on the assumption that an organization would not be seized or liquidated in the immediate future and will continue to operate for an indefinite period. That is, it is assumed that the business will continue for a fairly long period. There is neither the intention nor the necessity to liquidate the particular business venture in the future. It will continue to operate for an indefinite period. Simply, we can say that there is no intention to shut down a particular business concern in the near future. So this concept indicates the stability and continuity of a business for a long period. I'll give you an example. Suppose an organization purchases machinery of rupees 50,000 with a lifespan of 10 years. As per the concept of going concern, some amount of cost incurred on machinery would be shown as expense every year, and the balance amount would be represented as an asset. So this concept assumes that the organization would have a long life and not close or become bankrupt in the immediate future. So this concept provides the basis for showing the value of asset on the balance sheet and determining their depreciation. So one of the possible MCQ from this area is, see the question, fixed assets are reported in the balance sheet at a historical cost basis. This is done in order to comply with the accounting principle of, it is according to going concern concept. Next is money measurement concept. This concept states that only those transactions and events would be recorded in the books of accounting that are financial or monetary in nature. That is, financial statements report only those transactions which can be measured in terms of money and can be accounted as monetary amounts. Events or transactions which cannot be expressed in terms of money do not find a place in the books of accounts, but actually they may be very useful for the business. Suppose a business has got a team of dedicated and trusted employees. It will be definitely an asset to the business, right? But its monetary measurement is not possible. So we can't show it in the books of accounts. So transactions that cannot be expressed in monetary terms are not recorded in the books of accounts. Next concept is accounting period concept. It's a period of interval for which accounts are prepared and presented for ascertaining the result of business is an accounting period. Actually, the accounting period refers to the period for which an organization evaluates its financial position. Actually, the life of business is divided into an appropriate segment for studying the results. That is, the business tenure should be divided into equal segments to study and analyze the results properly. For example, the accounting period for publishing financial statements is usually a quarter. So, at the end of each accounting period, an income statement and a balance sheet are prepared. Measurement of income and studying the financial position of a business after a long period is not useful for taking corrective actions at the appropriate time. So it is absolutely necessary that after a particular time interval, the businessman must stop and see back how things are going. So in accounting, such a time interval is called accounting period. It is usually of a year, say 12 months, maybe 6 months or 3 months for preparing financial statements. There is a possibility of MCQ, that is, according to this concept, that is accounting period concept, the life of the business is divided into appropriate segments for studying the results shown by the business after each segment. Next is duality aspect. It is one of the important basic accounting principle. According to this concept, every transaction has two aspects. All of us know that the modern accounting system is developed on the basis of double entry system of bookkeeping, since every business transaction affects at least two accounts. It is considered as the foundation of accounting. So we can say every transaction has a twofold effect, namely receiving and giving. These aspects are known as debit and credit entries. This implies that for every debit entry, there will always be an equal credit entry. This is known as the duality principle of accounting. That is, it implies that the single transaction would affect at least two accounts. For example, purchase of machinery of rupees 80,000 in cash. So in this case, the fixed asset account is debited and the cash account is credited. Therefore, here one transaction is affecting two accounts, right? So, accounting equation is developed on the strength of this dual aspect concept. That is, when there is an increase in one asset, there is a corresponding decrease in other asset or increase in liabilities. Thus, assets and liabilities are equal at all times. That is, asset is equal to capital plus liabilities. Next is matching principle. It helps to find out the true profit or loss of a business entity. That is, the profit earned by an organization can be calculated by matching revenues received with the cost incurred during a particular time period. That is, the net income can be arrived by deducting total expenses from the total revenues. The point is that the revenue generated and expenses incurred should be of the same accounting period. Objective questions can be asked like this, that according to which principle all costs which are applicable to revenue of the period should be charged against that revenue. Which principle? Matching principle. Next is verifiable object. This principle which ensures the credibility and dependability of the recorded data. It is called the principle of objectivity or verifiable objective principle. That is, the entries made in the books of accounts should be verifiable and dependable. That is, the figures exhibited in the books of accounts or financial statements should have the support of source documents such as bills, vouchers, etc. Next is historical cost. According to the historical cost concept, assets are measured as per the price paid to acquire them. That is the actual cost of transaction. That is, transaction should be recorded at their acquisition cost. The cost of acquisition is the cost of purchasing the asset and includes the expenses incurred in bringing them to the intended condition and location of use. That is, the cost include the cost of acquisition, transportation and installation also. One important point to note that this concept of measurement, that is asset measurement, does not change with the passage of time if there is a change in the current value of assets. For example, if a land is purchased for rupees 1 lakh and its market price is 1,50,000, and while preparing the financial statement, its purchase value would be considered. So the balance sheet is prepared on a particular date on the basis of cost concept, that is historical cost. It does not specify the market price of the asset. So in accounting, the prices for assets are recorded at the past prices, that is the prices paid at the time of acquisition. Actually, this cost assumption does not imply that the asset would always be shown at the same cost price every year. The cost price of the asset would reduce systematically by using the process of depreciation. Therefore, after a certain period, these assets disappear from the balance sheet as their economic tenure is completed. One example for objective type question is, recording of fixed assets at cost ensures adherence of, that is, historical cost concept. Next is full disclosure principle. This principle implies that the disclosing of all material facts in the accounting records and statements. That is, disclosing essential information. See this question, the practice of appending note regarding contingent liabilities in the accounting statements is according to full disclosure principle. Next is revenue realization or recognition concept. According to this concept, revenue is recognized when a sale is made. A sale is considered to be made at the point when goods passes to the buyer and he becomes legally liable to pay for it. So the amount of revenue and the point of time at which it is realized can be ascertained under this concept. Revenue is recorded at the time when the title of goods passes from the seller to the buyer. In simple, the accountant should record business transactions only when they are realized. For example, if an organization receives an order in April to supply goods in June, then revenue would be earned in June when actual sales takes place. Okay. Next accounting convention is conservatism or prudence. Under this principle, an accountant should be conservative or prudent while preparing financial statement. He should provide for all losses, but he should recognize incomes or profits only when there is a certainty. In other words, according to conservatism, financial transactions are recorded in the books of accounts by taking into consideration all prospective losses and ignoring all prospective profits. It is an approach under which the profits are not overstated and losses are not understated. Making the provision for doubtful debts in anticipation of actual bad debts is on the basis of conservatism. The stock is valued at market price or cost price, whichever is lower, is also based on the same principle of prudence or conservatism. Next is materiality. It is the process of disclosing all material facts in the financial statement. According to this convention, an accountant should attach importance to material details and ignore insignificant details. There is an important point to note that an item that is significant for one might be insignificant for another. Similarly, an item that is significant in 1 year may not be significant for the next year. So, materiality is related to the size and the particular circumstances of individual organizations. For example, a default by a customer to pay ₹1,000 to an organization with the net assets of ₹100 crores is insignificant. But at the same time, the amount of default is rupees 10 lakh, the information would result in a major problem in the financial statement, and it is significant to that corporation. Next is consistency. According to this convention, accounting practices should remain unchanged from one period to another. That is, the practices and methods of accounting remain constant in different accounting periods. Therefore, the financial information of one period can be easily compared with another period or another entity if this consistency principle is followed. A frequent change in policies and practices will have an adverse impact on the reliability and comparability of financial information. For example, if depreciation is charged on fixed assets according to diminishing balancing method, so it should be done year after year. At the same time, this consistency principle does not mean inflexibility. We can introduce new accounting techniques, but if the adoption of that techniques results in inflating or deflating the figures of profit as compared to the previous period, a note to that effect should be given in the financial statements. Hope all of you got some important points regarding this topic. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video.